Michael Dean,
Yeah,
tape 4,
yeah.
take 4.
I could do a grand entrance from the bathroom.
What is our last session for the night going to be talking about?
I was going to say,
should we go deep on politics?
getting to interview me is like interviewing Salinger and Bin Laden in a cave. It's like, it doesn't, I mean, I do interviews by email all the time, and I'll do a Zoom interview, but you went the extra mile and got the interview that hasn't happened in a long time. Well, here's his questions. Did I send you his questions? You want to do those?
We did one.
Yeah, something was about babes in Toyland, and I don't know what the other thing was.
Yeah.
Oh, he said his girlfriend said that Bomb reminded him of a male Babes in Toyland, that band.
Yeah.
And do you like them, and what do you think of them? Bomb played with them once at the I-Beam. It was a really good show, and somebody had us stand up there with Kat from that band because we had like the same hair, and we kind of went like this and took a picture together, which I wish I could find, but if anyone has it, let me know. Let me know in the comments. Let me know in the comments. Dude, my tattoos. Sobriety. But
Do you have tattoos? Sublime tattoos?
I got a bomb tattoo with sperm going to it.
Mm.
I have a little heart. This is like an AA tattoo. You know,
I remember that.
This is what guys would have, but theirs would be bigger and it would have a guy's name. No, but it says Deborah, but it's kind of fading. But this,
it's very Long Beach.
My first ever girlfriend is a tattoo artist in New Jersey and did this for me about 5 years before I met my wife. And she left this blank. And I said, yeah, leave it blank so I can write in girls' names. And then someday I'll meet somebody, I'll put their name in there for real. And I did. I had it blank for 5 years. But I got something here and something here. But I'm not a tattoo guy or a tattooed guy.
I have a cool Santa Claus tattoo. Did you see that?
That is very cool.
Tom of Finland.
Kind of like
Santa
holding
Claus.
his balls. Yeah, leather pants.
He's cuffing him.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I sit close.
Yeah, that's funny. Oh, so Santa can check out my gams.
That's right.
You know who has a bomb tattoo on his leg? Is Jeff Whitehead, who is the black metal artist known as Leviathan / Rest, W-R-E-S-T.
Really?
Yeah, he's like big in black metal.
I think I know him.
But he was like really stern dude, kind of fit, short black hair.
Yeah.
Played with Doug. Yeah, played with Doug in a band. I used to know him when I was an elevator operator at 50 Oak Street. Probably the last elevator operator in the world in like 94. It was like when I first got sober. When I got sober, it was like the first job I could do. 94, then I had a little relapse in 99 for a while. Not anything to do with the bomb show, but no, it didn't have to do with that. No, it didn't have to do with that. But yeah, pretty much since then. I mean, I've done shrooms a few times since then. I've smoked pot 3 times since then. I don't like pot. I like psychedelics, but it's like I don't need them more than once every 5 years. And I did them about 3 years ago, so I don't need them for 2 more years. I don't need them, but I just, it kind of resets my bullshit, and I become a much kinder person for about 6 months after doing psychedelics. But let's see. We got off the topic here.
Yeah.
What was it? Tattoos, Babes in Toyland. I did not like Babes in Toyland. They're okay. There were definitely worse loud fucking bands in that scene. But the thing I don't like about Babes and I don't hear any connection with Bomb. Like Babes in Toyland is like loud, imprecise, angry, aggressive in a way. Like Bomb is not aggressive in that way or angry in that way, and definitely was pretty precise musically.
Yeah.
You know, they were a sloppy, punky band. But the thing I really don't like about them is, and this will tie back to Nirvana, is that every interview I've read with Kat since then, she's bitching about how Courtney Love stole her look. Which is quite a thing to bitch about. Like, your look? And first of all, Courtney Love didn't steal it from her. She borrowed it from the first drummer in Hole, Carolyn Yew. Yeah, who was a good drummer, pretty good drummer. They went to a major label, they got another drummer. That's pretty common. Like the producer's like, we need someone that can play with click, blah, blah, blah. But I had a little affair with Carolyn Yew right after she left whole, she like got my number from some, actually I was in the phone book, and she called me up, and she's like, I like Bomb, I think you're cool, we should hang out. And I'm like, what are you doing next weekend? Why don't you fly down here? And she's like, okay. And she flew down, we had a little tryst, and
Courtney.
no, Carolyn Yu.
Okay.
She dressed like Courtney though for that whole date. That's kind of cool. But no, Courtney dressed like her, like the Kinder whore thing.
Right.
That's Carolyn Yu. She invented that, not Kat. Carolyn was doing it first. But yeah, I don't like the, like Nirvana was probably influenced by my music, and I think it's the coolest thing in the world. I wouldn't be mad about it. She's mad because someone wore similar clothes to her. That's nuts. I don't get that.
So let's talk about Hate Fed Love.
Yeah, it's a good album. It's not the best album. Hits of Acid is the best Bomb album, and the second best, I think, is Elvis in Hell. Elvis in Hell has a really dark, weird production quality to it that's almost mystical, maybe. But...
So what happened with Hate Fed Love?
Okay, so we got signed to Warner Brothers. Our manager was Charlie Brown, who was Jane's Addiction manager. Like, not anymore at that point, but he took them from playing parties to sign to Warner Brothers. And because he'd gotten them signed, all the labels would look at anything he said, I'm managing. So we went down and did 6. First of all, the way we got him as a manager was, did you know the woman Kelly, who was the really pretty woman that was the DJ at the I-Beam? Kelly, like, kind of looked real normal. Like,
probably if I saw her, I don't.
Okay, so she was the DJ there, and she started dating Charlie Brown, and she's like, you got to manage this band Bomb. And he's like, Bomb, never heard of him. And she said in an interview that she used to put on Bomb and have sex with him to make a positive reinforcement in his head. And then one day he called me up out of the blue. I was really high on heroin. He called me up. She called me. She said, hey, Michael, this is Kelly. I'm like, hey, what's up? She'd never called me. We knew each other, but she'd never called me. I'm like, she's like, I'm talking on a car phone. I'm driving down in LA on the Ocean Highway or whatever the highway is, and PCH. And she said, like, I'm in not a Mercedes, because I have some like hot car, like, British, an MG or so. She's like, I'm in an MG, or I'm talking on a car phone, and I want you to talk to this guy. You should listen to what he has to say. He wants to sign Bomb. I was like, oh, it's a label guy? And he's like, no, I'm a manager, but I think I can get you on a good label. And he managed us, and within, like a month later, he had booked 6 showcases for us in LA. Like, some where we just played, like a hall was rented, and we just played to like 20 people, all label people, and a couple friends. And then some, like, we opened for some band at the Roxy, and we opened for some other band at Al's Bar. We played 6 gigs in 6 days. And we took a couple meetings. One was at Warner Brothers, one was at Atlantic. I wish we'd signed with Atlantic, because I think they would have treated us better. I don't know if they still would have kept us after the swastika, but maybe it wouldn't. Tony wouldn't try to put a swastika on the album. The reason he wanted to put a swastika on the album, he's not a Nazi. He's a lot of things, but he's not that. But he was really offended that we were going to have the parental advisory sticker label on the album. We were like one of the first bands to have that on there. And he was just offended, like incensed. Like, he would just get incensed about shit to where this like red fucking explosive hate in his head. There's actually a song about it on the record you put out. That song, the metal sounding one. But he was like, we can't have that on there. We have to protest it somehow. And the whole band and the manager's like, nah, don't worry about it, man. It's just, trust the process. I don't see that as a big thing. And it turned out like you sell more albums with that on there, not less. Like, the kids won't buy a record unless it's got that on there. I don't think they even have it anymore, but it used to be that was a sign of a good record. I like the one Iggy Pop put. He put the same style, but it said, caution, this is an Iggy Pop record. But so Tony said, we got to put a swastika sticking out from the 4 corners of that label. And we're like, no fucking way. And he's like, yes. And we're like, no. And the manager came over and was in town and sat him down and talked to him. Like, he's like, yes, we have to do it. And finally he's like, well, whatever. So he goes behind our back and goes to the label and calls the art department and introduces himself, finds out who's making our record, talks some fucking intern into doing a mock-up of it. He's like, I just want to see it. And he talked him into doing it. And the story I heard from Charlie Brown was with the owner of the label, whose father fled Europe because he was Jewish and they started breaking store windows, fled Europe for America, came down and was walking through and saw it on someone's light desk and said, "Who the fuck are Bomb and why the fuck are they on our label?" And they didn't kick us off because they were making a big case of, like, we defend the First Amendment, because they'd like fought for Jane's Addiction to have the naked women on the cover of the album. And but Jane's Addiction had sold 10 million records so far. We hadn't sold any. And so what they did was they buried us. Like we didn't even know we heard we got dropped from like our lawyer, you know. But they never told us that. They just quit returning our calls. They stopped sending out posters to gigs we were playing on tour. The record went out to stores, but like one copy per store, you know. So they did it smart. I mean, I don't know that they did this intentionally, but I don't see how they couldn't. I won't legally say they did intentionally, but they basically buried us in a way that we couldn't sue them and say you buried us. You know?
Looking back, do you feel like that's legitimately like that's how it should have happened, given the...
Do you mean should the label have kicked us off for that? I'm
Yeah.
not surprised at all they did. Of course they should have.
All right.
I mean, if
Fair.
Jane's Addiction did it, they wouldn't have kicked him off. They would have just said, "Oh, Perry, this isn't a good idea," you know, and they wouldn't have done it. But
Right.
no, of course, I mean,
And you didn't do it. You
I had
didn't have
nothing
it.
to do with it.
But you didn't have it. It wasn't on there, was it? Did it?
No,
get
it didn't
printed?
come on. No, didn't
Yeah.
come on the fucking record. No fucking
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
No, but
But it was,
got us
there was
kicked
a
off.
mock-up, and it wound up on the guy's desk, and he saw it.
Wasn't on his desk. He was just walking through the art department, just like came down from the top floor, like, "Ooh, what are my minions doing?" I don't know.
Right.
It's just that's how I
Right.
picture it. I picture it like Mr. Burns coming down, but
Man.
I don't know. Yeah. So also, I know that that's all true, but what I believe is true, but I don't know, is that killed every one of us in the music industry for at least 5 years. You know?
I have a friend.
Like, people talk. Oh, that's the Nazi band. Don't hire him. Don't hire Michael or Doug or Jay for your session work. You know.
Sure.
Yeah. Anyway, you have a
Which you're
friend?
not. You might be a lot of things.
Well, I wouldn't be someone who would do session work, but Jay and Doug totally could.
And you may have been a scoundrel, but you've never been a Nazi.
No, I've never been a Nazi, and Nazis are gross.
So
Yeah.
I have a friend.
Nazis are gross. They
I have
are.
a friend who loves that record.
Yeah, it's a good record. It was. What do you want to know? I mean, it was produced by Bill Laswell, who was not the right producer for that.
But
He's a good producer, but not for that.
Sean loves that record.
Sean.
The singer in my band.
Yeah.
He loves Hate Fed Love.
Yeah. Good.
Yeah.
It's a good record. It's you know, I got mugged buying heroin on the street in New York City the day before we did our vocals and got a switchblade to my throat. And it really fucked me up doing the vocals on it. I mean, the vocals are okay, but like, it kind of made me vocally impotent. Like the first day and a half after that happened, we didn't use any of them. And I went back to San Francisco before I really should have, and I should have done another take on Suzanne. Like I missed some notes on there, but overall, I stand by that record. It's just, it kind of sounds like a brick. It doesn't sound like fucking Bomb, you know? Like the best sounding Bomb record, really, sonically, is the EP Happy All the Time that basically Doug produced at Razor's Edge Studio. I don't know what the budget was. Tom Flynn paid it, but it was probably $3,000. It was done really quick. And Doug was at the control with the engineer, you know, making a lot of decisions. We let him because he's good at that. Of course we let him, but, you know.
What?
How did Laswell end up producing it?
No, that's not what I was going to ask. I mean,
Label politics.
right? No, I mean, Laswell's cool. And
He's
everything.
well, I'll tell you this. Laswell does amazing shit with weird world beat music, and he did that album with David Byrne and Brian Eno. He plays on that. He did some production on that. He produced some cool shit, like some Talking Heads. But when he does rock, and he told us this 3/4 of the way through the session, I was like, why'd you take this band? And he's like, I'm a music addict, Michael. I need to make music, and it costs money to do what I want to do, to travel, to record, to hire musicians. So a couple times a year, I do a band that I can tolerate, that I don't necessarily like, and I get paid a lot of money for it. He got $35,000 for a month's work on that, plus points, but it never sold enough.
You
to make
casually
points.
mentioned that you were strung out on heroin.
Yeah, I was casually strung out on heroin.
Casually.
Yeah.
I'm asking you, how did that end?
I mean, you mentioned epiphanies. There kind of was one, but I guess it was what they call the spiritual awakening of the educational variety, in that I wasn't terribly religious. I wasn't religious. I believed in God. I'm agnostic now. Agnostic. I don't even want to say agnostic and spiritual, but like agnostic and hopeful. Like really doing
So
this.
you were strung out. You were high on heroin,
and then I wasn't.
and then you weren't. All of a sudden, and you were religious.
No, I wasn't
wait,
religious.
What happened?
No.
Did the cops put you in handcuffs?
No, I've never been arrested. Which
Never
is
been arrested.
fucking shocking. Yeah. I'm one of the only people I know.
I'm shocked.
Have you been arrested?
I think I have.
I spent the night in jail in South San Francisco, but it was the drunk tank, and I don't have a record from it.
I think I've been arrested.
Yeah, if you think you've been arrested, it's probably in the drunk tank.
No, I mean, well, I was arrested for being out after curfew when I was under 18.
That's not arrested. That's
I call that mommy and daddy pick you up from jail.
although that goes on your permanent record now. Like kids that fuck up in high school, like now that becomes a criminal record. It's kind of fucked up. But let me finish this thing with Laswell.
Yeah.
So
No, I mean, I asked you how you got clean.
oh, well, I didn't finish Laswell. So Laswell did a record by
Laswell got me clean.
No. Laswell did a record by the Ramones. Laswell did a record by Motorhead. Like, he did a record by a bunch of cool bands, but he did the worst record by all of those bands. Not saying he's a bad producer, but there's something about when you end up in Laswell's studio and you're not world beat that he's playing bass on, it's not your best record, you know?
Yeah.
I respect the fuck out of Laswell. I will say, I'm not putting him down. I'm just saying he was the wrong producer for that album. I mean, he brought in a drum doctor. You know what that is? It's a guy whose job is tuning drums and making sure they're perfect, and you know. And he tuned Tony's drums normal. Tony's drums are tuned down like a quarter octave down. They're like tribal fucking. His tom-toms are like bass drums, and his bass drum is like a fucking oil tank.
Like a sub.
And this guy tuned it properly, and Tony's like, I don't want you to do that. And it was one time I was in agreement with Tony, like, no, Tony's sound is low fucking drums. And the guys like, and Doug, and we're all like, oh, trust the process. Because people kept telling us that because we'd never played the game in any way. And we decided we were going to play the game to an extent. And that was a bad thing to trust. We should have fought that. Like, the drums don't sound right on that record because of that. But, yeah, it wasn't the right thing for that. But how did I get clean? I never went to rehab. I went through Haight-Ashbury outpatient detox clinic a number of times, at least 3 times.
Did you just get tired of that life?
I did methadone detox once or twice. Yeah, I got tired of that life. I got tired. Well, you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, as they say. But yeah, like one day I was just like sitting in an empty room with no shit going, all right, enough's enough. And I went through the Haight-Ashbury detox clinic for a 4th time. I actually went to the meetings they made me go to instead of signing them myself or getting them signed and leaving 5 minutes in. I got a sponsor. I did all that. I took it seriously.
12-step recovery.
Yeah, and you know, the Haight-Ashbury detox is a really slight medical detox. It's like they give you like 4 days of codeine and then 4 days of half a Valium so you can sleep. But you know, it's kinder than cold turkey, but you know, it's not like a 30-day detox. But yeah, it was. I just was sick of it, man. I was fucking sick of it. There's not much more to it than that, other than, you know, I got
it was time.
I got a support system. I got some friends that were sober, and you know, like that. Whether AA directly works or not, and I have my doubts, just because I'm not anti-AA, but I don't go anymore. I haven't been since 2006. But the thing I don't like about AA, and I'm quoting someone else here, but it's presented as science, but it's not. Like, it's like if you go and read the Bill W. Pass It On story and see how it came to be, like the fact that there's 12 steps is arbitrary, but it's treated like the fucking gospel in the rooms. And really, it's like 3 steps broken up into 12 steps. It's just atonement, restitution, and passing it on. That's the 3 steps that the 12 steps are. All of them, and God. It's all
you
that.
You seem like a sober guy.
So I'm fooling you?
No, I mean,
no,
you know, you just seem like a sober guy, and I know a lot of.
I seem like a recovery guy, or
yeah, sure. Yeah. I mean, you don't drink. You know.
You don't. It doesn't. If you get enough AA, I'm sorry. If you get enough 12 steps, it's in you to the point where I remember a friend of mine that was really deeply in it, like working the fucking program, had 10 sponsees, had like 4 years sober, was really working it. And then he started shooting dope again, and I called him. He was in LA, and I called him. I'm like, what happened? And he's like, I don't know, Michael, but I got to stop. And he's like, why? He's like, because my dope's cut with AA now. Like that term, like really, like your dope's cut with AA. Like once you know the truth of like, I don't even know if I like the addiction, the disease model of addiction, but I know that once you get into it, you can't just chip. And, you know, his using was cut with AA. Like he was shooting a lot of dope and it wasn't making him happy because he knew, you know, the voice in his head of like, yeah, this isn't right. You know, this isn't it's not sustainable. Although,
do you think any kind of drug use is sustainable? I mean, I don't think it is.
Yeah.
I mean besides like a therapeutic, you know, regimen. For health reasons.
Yeah, because I think not everybody's addictive.
Yeah.
You know,
no.
I mean, I don't think people can snort speed every weekend and not increase that over a year's time, but or heroin or opiates. But
okay.
I know people that smoke pot once a month. I know people that do shrooms twice a year. I know people that.
Yeah, but that's pretty normal now.
I mean, I know I've known people who, back in the day, I've known people who snort coke 3 times a year. But maybe they're dead. They might be dead now, but you know, it worked for years for them.
I don't think anybody considers that to be
recreational. They sure did in the 80s.
Well, sober.
Everyone. Well, no, of course not. But the thing about psychedelics, though, that's interesting and as a precedent for California sober is that Bill W. did acid in recovery and was a big fucking advocate of it. If you read his book, did you know that?
Yeah, no, for sure.
I'm not saying you should do it.
People talk about that, but
I'm sure they talk about it as an excuse to use, but it's like that was one of the first clinical uses of LSD in the late 50s. Was psychiatrists were using it to treat alcoholism.
And psychedelics are used for psychological reasons by many.
Oh, there's people that have clinical depression that are constantly suicidal, even if they'd never do it. And they do MDMA once, and they're like, "I'm okay for a year."
Right,
you know?
It's like a regimen. That you
I think it's the fucking miracle drug.
Will put you on like a.
Yeah.
So here's a question for you.
Yeah.
I believe that that sobriety is rebellious.
It's hard in society. I mean, I had to stop going to bars. I could go to a bar now if I have a reason to, but you know, I wouldn't go hang out in a bar.
Do you think that being clean is like a big FU to the system?
It's probably a big U to big pharma, because I mean, so many people are on fucking speed now. Like it's normal from the doctor, like Ritalin. And how is that dealt with in recovery? Like, are there people like, well, I'm on Ritalin, but I'm sober?
I don't know. I mean, it's up to them.
Have you heard it? Have you heard people say that?
People are on different meds for different things.
Yeah, I mean, and I know there's an AA pamphlet called...
I'm not an expert.
There's an AA pamphlet called Problems Other Than Alcohol, which is about drugs. The whole AA on drugs other than alcohol is a pamphlet. But it basically says doctors are here for a reason. Listen to your doctor. But when doctors are like, you know, like with the Sackler family, like that company was pushing doctors to overprescribe opiates and tell people they're not addictive. And like saying shit like, oh, your pain is gone? No, you need to keep taking, you know, whatever. What's the one, the hillbilly heroin, they call it?
Oh, What, Dilaudid?
The pill, no, the one that's stronger now, it's time release.
Oh, yeah.
But there was a big lawsuit, and that company
Yeah.
had to pay out billions to the government, not to the victims.
Yeah,
but,
the drug was like just people in Appalachia are just strung out on it forever.
Yeah, well, everywhere. But Appalachia was a really big problem, too. And
Yeah.
Probably because there were like 3 clinics in West Virginia that were
Nothing
like,
to do.
pushing the fuck
Nothing
out
else
of it.
to do there.
Also, people that do physical labor get injured a lot, and that's,
Yeah.
there's a use for opiates. It's when your back is fucked up and you can't get out of bed. It's not for when you're heartbroken, which is how junkies use, But I don't think it's rebellion. I don't really think about being sober. That's the thing about going to meetings a lot, is you think constantly about being sober. And, there were people that told me when I stopped going to meetings that, oh, you'll be strung out in a year. And I've never done hard drugs since, other than shrooms and pot. And, I could count on my fingers and toes how many times I've done shrooms and pot combined since 1999. I haven't had a drink since then. I drank coffee like a fucking fiend, though. It's probably time for another dose, but I'm okay. I'm kind of twitchy.
Caffeine's
I love it.
good stuff.
I love it. Yeah, I noticed today I was looking at my Amazon cart, and it was coffee, like 8 pounds of coffee for the next couple months. And then a new bottle of melatonin, which I take sometimes. It's like, that's my speedball. But I don't take them at the same time. But it's like, I take coffee to function, and I take melatonin to sleep. And melatonin exists in your body. I don't really consider it a drug.
Is there anything else you want to mention about politics?
About politics? I think the president has dementia.
Gosh.
Did you see his
Or
debate?
is that what they want you to believe?
No, people have been saying that for a couple of years, and people
That's all they're talking about on the radio and on
Well,
news.
did you see the debate?
Yeah.
Yeah, and today he called the president of Ukraine to his face President Putin, and then corrected himself. But I don't know. I don't think that guy should have the nuclear codes. I think if they were smart, they'd get the 60-year-old governor of California or Colorado or something.
Is Gavin Newsom 60?
I don't know, 50. He's not 80. He won't be 84 by the time he's done.
He's not going to be 80 for a while.
Yeah. Oh, I think I don't know if he has dementia. I don't know if the president has dementia, but
who do you think's going to win the election in November?
I don't think the president would be fit to run a corporation, let alone a country.
Who do you think?
I don't know who's running the country. I think his wife is.
Who's going to win the election?
Eleanor Roosevelt. Who knows, man? Who fucking knows?
Does it matter?
I don't know. Ugh. I don't think either are great options, honestly.
Yeah. RFK?
That's an interesting one. I think he could tip the vote one way or the other if he actually sticks in and demands to stay in his third party. If Trump were smart, he'd pick him as his running mate. If Biden were smart, he'd pick him as his VP. He could be a VP for either of them because he's kind of the good side of left and right, I would say. I think a little bit I've heard of him.
I think that 70% of people that I know would agree with you, but only that 90% of people that I know would agree with you, but that only 70% of them would admit it.
Well, I was just going to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They wouldn't admit it. People would not admit it.
I think that if they don't get a different guy than Biden in there, Trump might just win because, I don't know though, because I think there's so many never Trumper Democrats that they would vote for a rabid squirrel rather than not vote or vote for Trump. So, I don't know, man. It's just, I think the world is laughing at us because of the president right now. He's fucking insane. He ain't right. If you watched him and think did you think he was coherent in the debate?
I mean, I saw what you saw.
Yeah, he's an ill man. I don't know that he's senile, but he really is not fit to run anything.
Something's going on.
He made Trump sound presidential, which I'm using that term kind of as a joke because Chris Novoselic said 5 years ago that he thought Trump seemed presidential, which is just a passing statement of like, yeah, he looks good in a tie and he can make a complete sentence. But like he fucking got canceled over that. Like, he left Twitter over that. He had like 100,000 Nirvana fans. Like,
And he's not even a pro-Trumper, right?
No. He was, he backed people from the left and the right, but no, he's the only person I know who's really consistent about politics. Like, he's like people used to be in the 60s. Like, well, frankly, I voted for both Democrats and Republicans. It depends on the man.
Well, then
like,
you got
he's like that.
And then you had indie artists who were at indie artists who were at the Capitol the day of the riot.
Who?
At the Capitol art.
You talking about the thing where people burn stuff on?
Yeah.
Like
on
years
that
ago.
Day,
like the last day of Trump.
Yeah, there was like Ariel Pink. It was like there.
Oh, Pink? Who?
Ariel Pink.
Who the fuck's Ariel? I don't know who that is.
A couple of indie artists.
I know there was some metal dude got arrested
We're
there.
like YouTubing from the Capitol riots.
I don't pay attention to that shit, man.
Well, it's some cancel culture stuff.
I don't know. Oh, I know that a guy got kicked out of some fiddle player got kicked out of a popular band for saying something positive about something on the right. Do you know what I'm talking about? It's called like some huge band that's kind of country and like, yeah, a country guy got kicked out of a country band for being right wing, but I don't know. No, I don't follow this shit, man. I don't think about it. I did watch the debate because I was like, this will be interesting.
Mostly you just watch cat videos.
That is honestly true. I saw some of the meanest shit I've ever seen from Nirvana fans at Chris when he said that. I mean, I think he's fully recovered from it. But if you read that, I'll send you this. He did a blog post on his blog about Bomb around that time. And in it, he says, like, yeah, I met Michael Dean a long time ago. We didn't really, we hit it off a little bit. I liked the band. We didn't stay in touch. I got back in touch with him. Basically, what he says in there is, we're friends because I would still talk to him after that. Like, he was someone I talked to and confided in after I got canceled. But that's a whole nother story. But, yeah. I saw one of the meanest fucking things I've ever seen anyone say about... I'm not even going to say it. I'll say
Don't say it.
I'll say it when we turn it off.
Don't say it.
It's, yeah.
So did you ever think about cancel culture as, like, people being cops?
What do you mean? I don't like cops. I mean...
I don't like cops.
I like the sheriff.
People who are being canceled, who are like canceling people, are like cops.
Oh, they are cops?
Yeah, that they're being like cops.
Oh, they're the hall monitors. Yeah, they're the hall monitors. A lot of people that are into pushing cancel culture seem to be people with no power. And it's not because they're a maligned group. It's because they are a nerd and no one ever liked them. Not everybody, and there's things worth canceling. I don't know. I don't like canceling. I don't like the idea of trying to destroy someone's life because you disagree with them. I fucking hate that. It's like these
and you're
people
probably
now,
wrong about them anyway.
Yeah, like these people now, like, oh yeah, like Reddit's bad for that too. Like, there was some Nazi guy that did something and Reddit found the guy and found his name and it was the wrong guy. Like, the guy got fired and people called her. I don't like people calling people's work and if they fucking raped somebody and you have proof, yeah. But if they're, they like the other guy.
I agree.
Fuck that. Yeah. Well, you're a logical leftist,
okay, so you're a retired, like, former
leftist?
rock and roller, retired, reformed drone apologist.
I was never a drone apologist, and I'll tell you this, and that's a good term, because you told me that the other day. I'm like, what do you mean? You were like, people from the left that are pro-war. And I'm like, yeah, when I was a kid, the left were cool. They were anti-war.
Right.
I mean, I saw Nixon step down on TV. That's how old I am. I saw the Vietnam War on TV. I saw the fucking moon landing on TV.
Yeah.
Which is probably why I'm into astrophotography.
When you were 4.
Now. 5.
Well, I was 4.
Yeah, when you were 4, right. But
that's why I said that, I guess.
I will tell you this: the one thing I've been my joke is I say I'm pro-gun and anti-war, and that sounds crazy to people, but it's a really good description of my politics, if anything. I will tell you how long I've been consistently anti-war, and I've never veered from this. It's the longest running strong stance I have. When I was in kindergarten, when I was 5, and watching the Vietnam War on TV, and it was like a fucking football game. Like, it was the first war that had TV. I mean, Korea War had TV, but barely. It was the first war with TV, and it was like, it wasn't all pro-war either. Like, Walter Cronkite was good. He was anti-war, or anti-this war, which makes sense, you know. I mean, if somebody attacks your country, you attack the government of that country. You don't attack the people, but you attack the people that attacked you. But we've been the America has been the police of the world my whole life, and a little bit longer, but not that much longer, probably 100 years. But I remember watching the Vietnam War early in the morning before going to kindergarten when I was 5, and they had a scoreboard, like our dad, their dad, every day. And I thought that was fucking sick. I was 5, and I was like, that's wrong. And, you know, they had embedded guys with film cameras behind the soldiers shooting. Like, that war was in your fucking face. The revolution was televised, and it wasn't a revolution. It was a fucking dirty war we should not have been in. You know, if you want to get into the whole I'd rather talk about the domino theory of communism than who is going to be the fucking Joker in the White House next week. Like, that makes sense to me. Like, why the domino theory of stopping communism was the wrong way to do it. The way to stop communism was fucking rock and roll. Like, that's what brought down the Berlin Wall, was blue jeans and rock and roll and Bruce Springsteen. You know, it wasn't killing Viet Cong as a proxy war with Russia. And now we're in a proxy war with Russia, arming Ukraine with fucking missile systems. We're killing Russians right now. And Russia, you don't want to fucking have a proxy war with because they have nukes. That's a bigger story to me than who's president, is who's going to pull people out of the war and who's going to maybe nuke somebody. So, but this war in Vietnam, like, it fucked with my head when I was a kid. I was like, this is wrong. And my parents were Republicans. My sisters were liberals. But, like, I didn't have a problem with... I had a problem with war. That's the only fucking thing I had a problem with as a kid. I mean, I would say I was a liberal. You know, you're a liberal, a conservative, a libertarian is a liberal who's been mugged. They say, like, that is kind of me. A conservative is a liberal who someone broke into their house. But going back to that, like, I decided, I said to my mom, I don't want to go to school, because if I go to school today, I have to grow up. And if I have to grow up, I have to go fight in the war. Be a soldier. I don't want to be a soldier. I don't want to kill people. And we had an exchange student from Belgium staying with us, this really cool woman named Magda, who was 17 and going to our high school. And she talked to me, and she got me to go to school. I loved her. She was the coolest person. She was like, my sisters were in college, and she was like my new big sister. And I respected her. And she told me about her brothers who were soldiers and how brave they were and how nice they looked in their uniforms. And I knew it was bullshit, but she talked me into going to school. But that is how long I've been anti-war, and I have never veered on that. I've never veered. I mean, I think that probably the last ethical war the U.S. was involved in was aspects of World War II, and I think before that, the War of 1812, and then probably the Revolutionary War. Those are the 3 ethical wars the U.S. has been in. Everything else was fucking bullshit.
Jeffersonian, yay or nay?
That's a complicated question. I'm not pro-slavery, which you'd have to include in Jeffersonian. I know Jeffersonian...
The modern
Jeffersonian Democrat. Yeah, I mean, I know Republicans who say they're a Jeffersonian Democrat, like the original...
No, seceding from the Union.
Oh.
Eastern Oregon, part of...
Is that what you meant?
That's what I meant.
Nah. I don't know. We don't have sales tax here, and if we become part of Idaho, we will. I don't care. I
thought we were in Utah. I mean, Wyoming.
Where we are. Unless the capital of this state, which is as different from the people and moods in this part of this state as, I don't know, California, like South of Market, San Francisco is from like rural Kansas. As long as the powers that be don't steal a lot more of my money overnight, you know, I've seen stuff where cities that are failing raise the property tax on the whole area, then we couldn't afford to live here. But as it is now, we're retired and can live till we're 90 comfortably without spending a lot. But if our property tax went way up, we couldn't, as long as that doesn't happen,
Yeah.
I don't see a reason to join another state.
We're all just trying to live somewhere.
But there's a lot of things I don't agree with that is part of the driving force for that. Like, a lot of the people that want to join Idaho, it's because they're anti-abortion. I think abortion should be legal. I think there's a phrase that I've heard politicians use. I think it should be legal, safe, and rare. And I agree with that, but part of it being rare is fucking handing birth control pills to any kid that wants them, which a lot of conservatives don't want to do. And logistically, if conservatives were smart, they'd be fucking giving them out in grade school.
So what's your favorite bomb record? Put it in the comments. Michael's favorite bomb record is Hits of Acid. You can listen to it for free, or you can buy it at biptunia.com.
Can't believe we ended up talking about politics of abortion. Don't we want to do one more short question?
No, we're talking about Hits of Acid.
Well, let me talk about Hits of Acid.
Remixed by Jack Endino in 2021.
Yes.
Biptunia, BIPTUNIA.com.
Subscribe, comment, ring the bell.
But if it's not Hits of Acid, what is your favorite bomb album?
Well, there's only like 4, and it's really 3.5 because 2 are EP. Well, there's 5, I think, and 2 are EPs. And the second one repeats 6 songs from the first one, recorded better and played
Tell
better.
us what's the matter with Michael. What do you not like? Because he doesn't care.
What don't I like in the band or in the
what do
world?
the viewers not like about you and your viewpoints?
I don't know.
Yeah.
But there's a nebula called I think it's the Angry Finger Nebula.
Yeah.
And it basically looks like that. I just found that out the other day. That's pretty cool.
And they can see your space photography
Yeah.
online.
Yep.
Let's go over that one more
Yeah,
time.
the easiest place to get to me is michaelwdean.com, MICHAELWDEAN.com.
MICHAELWDEAN.
Yeah, but I don't put them all there. There's probably like 10 out of 40 up there. I just put the best ones up, or the ones I feel like putting up. Yeah, but astrobin.com/ or astrobin.com and then search Biptunia. I actually just started a Facebook group I'll pimp if I can remember the name of it. It's called, I think it's Real Space.
Oh, we don't plug the Zuck.
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right.
Yeah. We're tube only.
Okay. Yeah, because, Zuck's an evil
I just made that up.
Zuck's an evil corporation, but
that up.
Google's great.
Yeah, I just
Remember
made that
Google?
up.
Google used to have the motto "Don't be evil," which I thought was
I've
great.
shaken hands with Sergey, even though he's not the guy anymore.
Yeah. Well, he's shaking that logo.
He's
They
a
got
guy.
rid of that logo when they started
He's a
doing.
real man. I know he's a human. I've shaken his hand.
Yeah. Does he have Russian accents, Phil?
Yeah, a little bit.
I like that. I do not boycott things from Russia. I'll say that politically. I don't see the point of fucking boycotting humans. They don't make the decisions. It's like boycotting me, because the guy with the nuclear codes is senile. That's not my fault. I didn't vote. I have no control. Here's my answer to any political question is I'll answer it, but it's like, I have no fucking power. What does it matter what I think? I don't have any power. I don't have any influence. No one's going to vote because I tell them to.
But I liked your record 40 years ago.
Yeah.
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 Okay.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah. Well, Bomb was a completely apolitical band. We had no political songs, but actually, our first song before we were called Bomb was political, and I asked Jay to find a recording of it. I think he has a cassette of it. We called the band Bomb because we formed like the day after the U.S. bombed Libya, whatever that was, or that week.
Yeah.
And we wrote a song that was really fucking stupid just to practice writing. We knew as we were writing it. It's called Liver, Legs, and Libya. Or as Tony called it, Lift Her Legs and Lie About It, which is pretty fucking funny. But, yeah, we wrote like a fucking punk rock song, like a song, and, 2.5-minute pop punk song with a catchy melody with the stupidest fucking words ever. We were just like, let's write a song and see how we work writing a song after we played 2 nights together, And it was fun. And that was our first song. And it wasn't really political. It was a joke song, but, you know, as political as like that band, the Fearless Iranians from Hell, with all the songs about bomb the embassy. And the guy who's in the band is actually Iranian. And the joke is that, you know. But
Well, I'm going to think about, after this,
they were
I'm
on
going to
Boner
think
Records.
about things that I should have asked you. But we can meet up again and we can talk again.
Yeah, you visited me and it was good. You don't have to leave. I mean, you can leave if you want, but I'd stay another 2 hours talking to you.
I got to go.
I'd turn this off and talk to you for 2 hours if you want to.
We could, but then what would they watch?
You got to sleep before you drive. Are you driving tomorrow?
Yeah.
What time?
I mean, I'm going to get some sleep tonight.
Yeah.
I'm a person that likes to sleep.
I just might get some sleep tonight. I love Grateful Dead.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And again, biptunia.com.
You just got me going. I'm
You
like,
can listen
I'm awake
to
now.
the remastered Jack Endino Hits of Acid
Yeah, you can.
at biptunia.com
Or
for free.
on
Or you can buy it
Spotify.
and download it.
It's on YouTube. It's on Spotify. You can actually, better than buying it, I mean, you could buy the high def 24-bit versions
Yeah.
on Bandcamp, but you can also torrent them from my website. And if you torrent it from my website, you get a like 50 meg zip of like 100 different bomb flyers and photos free.
Nice.
So, yeah.
So, Bomb fans, check that out.
That's on Biptunia.
I've been here with Michael Dean. Watch out for more videos with Michael Dean. And because we made a bunch of them.
Thanks for putting that last bomb record out. I really like that record.
It was my pleasure.
Jason's fucking great. It's a good record.
My pleasure.
Tony was shooting dope in the bathroom, but we still pulled it off.
My pleasure,
It
Mr.
worked.
Dean.
That was a cool studio, too. A lot of shit's happened in that studio over the decades, like
Yeah.
going back to the 60s. Yep. Check out 9353, Jason's band. They're great.
All right. Thank you. Like and subscribe to the channel.
Yeah. Mew. Mew.